100 years since World War I, since bullets stopped flying and battles were done. The time we remember year upon year, a time we have not suffered, but yet we fear. Not a celebration of war, but that of the end, when disputes were fixed, but lives couldn't mend. The lives of the soldiers who fought our corner, this day we remember in their honor. On the 11th of month and on the 11th day, we take a moment to commemorate, to tribute those who served us well, to all the soldiers who fought and fell. You were reborn the day you died, in form of poppies full of pride, who march as one and stand together, an army to be praised, recognized forever. The ever-growing stem and heart of blood red, in the center, the black, the war, our dread. We all wear them in memory upon our chests, to remind us of our country's very best. To all the people we're grateful for, yet we've never met, your patriotic souls will be in our hearts, lest we forget. They shall not grow old, as we are left to grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Good evening, friends.
Good evening.
Welcome, one and all, to this, our service of remembrance, on this, the 11th day of the 11th month. Let us begin by joining together in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends and to unite under your banner of love, of hope, and of friendship. Let us join in remembering and bringing together the love, the compassion, and the freedoms that we are at liberty to share. And as we place this service in your care and keeping, we ask that the veil be lifted and that those that we loved and thought we had lost be allowed to come forward and prove to us the truth and the proof that life is indeed eternal. Amen.
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 Well, friends, you all thought it was going to be subdued and mournful tonight. You all thought that I was going to be calm and not getting on my soapbox. And of course, out of reverence and respect, we begin this service in a very steady and very calm way for me. But of course, one of the things that were fought for during those great battles was the freedom to be ourselves, to live our lives as we feel free to do, so long as it harms no one. So, now we have shown reverence and respect, let us show thankfulness, gratitude, and hope as we say, good evening, friends!
Good evening.
And good evening to everyone who is watching live or in the future on Facebook and YouTube. We can do that now. And of course, thank you all for being here on this most important of nights. Remembrance is something that's very special to everyone, but I like to think that we spiritualists do tend to focus on remembrance. We always speak of those that have gone before us, although depending on who it is, not always in respect, but we always do speak in love. And that is something that we are grateful for to be able to do. To be able to stand here, to raise our voices, to be heard, to speak our truths as we see them, to be in freedom, to be able to live in peace. And of course, one of the things that we know is that those who fail to recognize and learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So if anyone were to ever question the relevance in this modern age of whether we should still be taking 2 minutes silence at 11 o'clock on the 11th of the 11th, number one, don't let them ask it in front of me. Because if you think my sermons are bad, my lectures are worse. Those who fail to recognize and learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Now, for those that may or may not know, certainly everyone in the hall knows because we've just been talking about my dalliances in social media. I've been dallying in social media and I'm still enjoying it. A week has gone by and I'm still happy. You learn by interacting with people. You learn by interacting with people of opposing views. And so long as you interact in a respectful, courteous, and kind way, there can be no failure. There's an old saying that I've never really quite liked. We will agree to disagree. Because that's a cop-out. It's giving up. You can respect someone's position without agreeing with it. You can understand someone's desire to think a certain way without accepting it as your own. So long as you stand proud and tall and speak your own truth. Now, for the first time in a long time, I have a book up here on a Thursday night. The Bible. There are many opposing views about this book. There are many opposing views about how it's constructed, how it's translated, how it's used. Those that do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, hey, even 100 years ago, there was no social medias. There was no electronic communication. The average person didn't get their words put in print just by choosing to do so. It was difficult. Things were handed down by word of mouth, and then when the ability to write it came along, it was committed to word, to pen and ink, and parchment or skin or whatever. Just because it wasn't a photo taken the instant it was happened, or a video recorded from someone's mobile phone, while somebody stood on a mountain and spoke, does not mean to say that it does not hold some historical value and requirement of some understandable reverence for those who do believe. For those that don't, who are always complaining about its content, do something about it. Because I say this without fear of being questioned. The problems and the issues, the pains, the miseries and the sufferings that are written down in this book still happen, still go on, still exist. We can create and we can bemoan. But unless we learn from our history, unless we do something about it, we are doomed to repeat it. There are those that question whether we should read, as Christians and Christian spiritualists, all of that book or just the latter half. There are those that question whether some of the books that were taken out should be put back in, or whether some of the books that are still in should be taken out. I have my own views on that too. But it's not the place to share those views. And then the hall breathed a sigh of relief. What I do say is that in its entirety, it is a lesson that we humans think we're so clever and so brilliant and so advanced and moving forward, yet we're still bickering about what happened 5,000 years ago and not doing something about it now. I once spoke to a Catholic priest, and he said to me, "Nick, we spend all of our time talking about miracles and no time doing anything about them." Think on that for a moment, and think on this last statement as well. Today is all about coming together in remembrance of those who fought and died so that we could be here doing what we're doing today. That's a lesson. That's a lesson that should be learned and never, ever, ever forgotten. Because I have said it many times, and I will finish with it, because it's very, very important. Those that ignore the lessons of history will always repeat it. Let us not be those people. Let the world not be those people. Let everyone come together and listen to each other. Respect each other. Doesn't mean to say you have to agree. I respect many people that I don't agree with, and they treat me with respect because they don't agree with me. And you know what? We talk about something else. That's why they invented soap operas, you know. EastEnders should be finished about now, so the numbers will start going up again. Those who do not listen to the messages of history live in folly, because we have got a route map of what to avoid. So let's not argue about who said what and who did what, and know that things happened. And by having some record with a historically accurate to the moment by moment, blow by blow account, or with a handed down story that was eventually written down with as much detail as possible in it, it still shows us something that happened, something that occurred, and quite often, if we actually read these things properly, how to avoid it again. And then we can say, we helped make this world a better place in duty of those that will follow us, just as so many people did who we followed. Thank you all for listening, and God bless you. And so now we're going to ask our Reverend in the North, Reverend Alan, are you there?
I certainly am, Nick. Good evening, all. Hope
Good
you're all
evening. Let us have your reading, dear boy.
Will do, imminently. My reading tonight is called In Gratitude of Silence by Debbie Hollick. Silent now the soldiers sleep, their tails long laid to rest. I knew them not, yet still I weep, and place a poppy o'er my breast. There were husbands, brothers, fathers, sons, so valiantly they fought, on shores stained red, on hands and knees. It was our freedom that they sought. Courageously they stood their ground, but freedom's carries costs. Thousands of men were wounded, and countless lives were lost. So, in gratitude of silence, and all those who have served, sleep now, you have earned it. Your peace is well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. And we know you are obviously up north. I'd just like to share this little conversation that Alan and I had before the service while you're still on. We're aware that you're going metal detecting on Sunday.
Correct.
We're also aware that you're going in uniform of this variety.
Correct.
Because Alan's going to be holding 2 minutes silence with the metal detecting club that he works with. So if anyone's in Alan's area and wants to join in, get in touch with Alan. I'm sure the metal detecting club won't mind some groupies following them around and actually joining in and taking part in the service that you are providing on Sunday, my friend.
Thank you.
And we will see you later on, my friend.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. God bless and take care.
God bless.
Have you noticed since August we're getting better at staggering our conversations so we're not talking over each other? It's really quite good. It's called patience. Something that many people, including the lady on the door, thought I never had. It's true, because I never did. I know, I was an impatient little what's-it. Well, friends, we've spoken about remembering, we've spoken about freedom, and now we do what comes after that quite literally. We speak of healing. Healing is not just a gift, it is a blessing. Healing is not just an ability, it's a minimum requirement. Both the body, the mind and the soul, and certainly in any spiritualist church. So let us think of all those we know, those we don't know, who are in need of healing. Anyone who is sitting at home, just type the name of a person in the comments so that they can be included, or think of them yourself if you want to keep it private. But now we send out our thoughts for a moment to all those in need. And we will begin, as always, with the healing prayer and end after that moment of candle and music with the word Amen. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, here we bring unto you all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them. This we ask for those we know, for those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, friends. Well, I'm aware that Reverend Lynn is at home and in need of healing. Probably asleep, but if she is watching or does watch in the future, I'm sure she will be greatly appreciative that I kept it under 15 minutes this week. I know this because we haven't even been going almost that long, and we've had loads in it. So, and I can also see that everyone's eyes are still open, they're all awake, so I haven't drifted everyone off to sleep yet. But now truly is, my friends, the time that we have all been waiting for. As I make the statement, as I know you thought I'd forgotten, but we were doing our remembrance service, I'd like to say a big welcome this evening to our medium, Colin Boswell. See, to be honest with you, for the first part, I was trying to keep the clapping down. And I thought, you know what? Colin deserves a good clap. No commentary. So we make sure that that clap is allowed to be as loud as possible. And, you know, Colin, you have been a regular supporter and stalwart of this church for many years. And we're always very, very grateful. And you even dabbled in the online a few times as well. Before the service began, Colin and I were discussing, you know, how he watches the service and how it all seems to go swimmingly. And I said, you know, well, you should see behind the scenes. And there was a look in his eye of, yes, I have seen behind the scenes because I know what it was like when you was doing it from your bedroom. But he was too polite to mention it, you know, the disorganized chaos that was me trying to arrange connections and times and everything. But you know what? We got through, and it's through the love and compassion of genuine exponents of this way of life that gets us through. So for the rest of the evening, I'm going to hand over this service to not just a great exponent of this way of life, not just a good friend of this church, but a good friend of mine. And as he begins, and before he begins, I would like to ask you all to send your healing thoughts in Colin's direction whilst he works. And I will say that magic word that everyone smiles about. Ladies and gentlemen, Colin Boswell!
Here we are. Oh dear. Well, it's lovely to be back here at Littleport after such a very long time. And it's well before COVID that I was last here. And it is a joy to be back tonight. And it's lovely to meet new faces here this evening, and both online. And I'm sure there's a few new faces, or more than a few, that should be tuning in tonight or watching the recording at some later stage. It's, as I say, it's wonderful to be here. And it's wonderful that Nick lifts that energy and brings the spirit through in such capacity as I have tonight. And I put a turnstile on the door just so that every spirit person that joins us here this evening pops £1 into the coffers of the church just to keep the doors open. And but as I was blending with the spirit, as Nick was talking there, I was made aware of straight away of a gentleman that was stepping forward. And as he came close, being a clairsentient medium that I am, as well as a clairaudient medium, I was able to feel the degree of illness that he suffered with at the end of his mortal life. And I was aware that he had a lot of difficulty with breathing, and I felt to myself that it felt rather much more like emphysema. So somebody here may be able to relate to somebody who they would have lost in the past. I feel that this gentleman reached an age somewhere in his mid-70s. And can anybody with this information relate to somebody that they know? Somebody who would have had a great deal of difficulty breathing as in the latter part of their life, would have had difficulty. I think it was almost certainly smoking related. in its original cause when it first started. Can anybody relate to that? Somebody that you would know, somebody that was precious to you. I do feel I might be with a grandfather, incidentally, so you should be able to perhaps relate to that with this gentleman. Not a grandfather, but somebody certainly of an older age group, somebody perhaps on your parents' age group, would that be? Yeah. But I would have suffered a great deal with their chest. And I also feel there was an issue with the heart. Can you accept that? Something where everything was laboured and it put that gentleman's whole metabolism under great stress. Can you accept that? And would I be right, incidentally, also that he was not a complaining individual, somebody who took, if you like, his illness with great steadfast reaction? Can you accept that as well? And I do feel as well, as he comes through, that he was somebody by nature, a very jovial type of person, somebody who would always crack a joke. You know, Nick's father and myself share much of a love of a Cornish comedian called Jethro. And I feel that this gentleman who we have come through tonight was somebody who remembered jokes and somebody with very quick fire. Can you accept that as well with him? I also feel he was a very intelligent man as well, a really quite well-learned person. Can you accept that as well? There's a lot of wisdom with this man, I do feel. And that wisdom extended to the fact that people would very often consult him for advice over things. Can you accept that as well? A kind of a bit of an oracle of the family. Can you accept that as well? Yeah, excellent. That's lovely. But the warmth that I get from this gentleman as he comes through is one of genuine love and affection. Can you accept that as well? And yeah. He's telling me that there's a date of importance. I've got to give you August the 20th as a date of importance, so you may be able to relate to that. If not immediately, that may come into your. You'll always be able to reconsult this afterwards, which is always a blessing. So if there's anything that you can't remember at this particular time, you can always go through it afterwards and equate to what comes through, maybe of which isn't exactly with you at this particular time. Also got to give the name of Mary as well, so somebody you should be able to equate to, known as Mary. Can you accept that as well? A Mary. So do take that with me, because that came in my right ear quite strongly there. And knowing this gentleman is I know a real blessing, somebody you would have known very intimately. And as he steps forward as well, I know that the message at the end of this is always comes in with colour. Since I became a pranic healer, colour seems to be always something that Spirit like me to work with. And I must, the colour that this particular message is wrapped in is in green, which is a wonderful heart chakra colour. And so I'll get to that in just a moment. There's a number of people here I'd like to get round, as many as I possibly can this evening. And there's I believe you are at this particular time in a somewhat your life's come to a bit of a dead stop. Can you accept this? If you analyse life at the moment, it's nothing to do with COVID, though. For a lot of people, that near 2-year period has put a lot of people's plans and aspirations on hold. Can you accept that? And to some extent, that's probably affected most of us. I do feel also your life's come up to somewhat of the buffers as such. If you were a railway enthusiast, so it's come to a bit of a dead stop. You go with that, would you? And the spirit world would like you to forge ahead with your desires and with your aspirations, and to concentrate on exactly what you want from life. It's an important time of your life where there is change going on anyway, even that may be slower than you would have of light. And they would like you to sort of put your foot on the accelerator and to give that old accelerator a little bit of stick and surge forward safely, of course, I must admit, and with your seatbelt on, and just to get that little bit of a thrust in your aspirations and go for it. Just go for it. And when you do, the transition in your life will be something that you will think, well, why didn't I do it sooner? Why didn't I just jump on this and just get stuck in and do it? And spirit have also an important part in your life to play. And I do feel you're somebody who is aware of spirit when they're around you. I do feel that you're quite adept at picking up on those little idiosyncrasies that spirit display to make you notice. And you prick your ears up, don't you, when they come? And I also feel that you're aware of animals and former pets that you've had in the past as they come brushing past your ankles. And that's a joy to have that gift. But I do know that this gentleman, as he comes through, wants you to reconnect, and this reconnection is important. There's people in your life that have become, if you like, not necessarily due to COVID, but become a bit more distant to you. Not even a phone call, perhaps, little more than a text. Do you see what I mean? And it's dehumanizing that wonderful quality of life that's important to you. It just takes that vital link of personal association away. And we're all social animals, and we've lost a lot of that social ability over the last couple of years. And he wants you to connect. He wants you to build those links that have become somewhat muted and somewhat less valid than they once were. Can you accept that? Do you remember we used to be on, and you're probably the same, we're on that old phone for ages, and when the bill came in, everyone got a bit of a ticking off because they're on the phone too long. It's not happening now like it once did, is it? It's not the same. And a text isn't the same, is it? It's just not the same. So just make those connections. Just make those connections because the spirit are watching, and they want you to get that wonderful connection back because it's important to you. You're a social animal. You're a people person, and I didn't mention when I started my delivery that I also ask everybody that is a recipient of a message here in the hall tonight that you may have a question that you wish to ask the spirit world of your own. Please be it one with a yes or no answer preferably, and then if the spirit wish to elaborate on that, then they'll do so. Now, if you don't, I've sprung that on you a little unexpectedly, but the next person, it won't be perhaps so unexpected. So if you think of something, then come back to me afterwards when we shut this microphone down, and it's private. So you may have something that you wish to just ask. Okay then? Excellent, wonderful. Well, I'll just grab a quick swig of this. Nick's put some gin in this, I'm sure. But there's a wonderful energy in here tonight, as there always is, and it's a joy to be back here once again. And it's like putting on my old comfy slippers. I've got a lady that's just stepping forward now. And this lady I know will be very close to somebody. She's come through with quite a little bit of force. And as she comes close, I do know that I feel it's mum. I do feel it's mum because there is very strong feeling of love and passion with this lady. I do know that she could be a little bit. I would say. She would speak her mind. Somebody who was quite forthright in her language, and if anybody displeased her, she wouldn't hold on to her reaction to that. Can anybody take this information so far? And I love her as she comes through, because there is this warmth to her, there is this softness, and she is someone who's very protective, almost like a mother hen put her wings around those that she loved and were dear to her. And as she comes close, and she wants to make this connection. I don't feel she's made this connection for some considerable time, though. You may have had a connection from her in the past. Would that be right, sir? And as she comes close, I do know that once again, they're literally like the fly on the wall, monitoring everything that goes on in our lives. Everything. They know everything. Every thought you have is like a radio transmission. And as that leaves your body and goes off into the ether, then our spirit friends tune into it, and they know exactly what's going on in your life and all of our lives. And with a millisecond of you just sort of thinking of them, they come close. And it's such a blessing to know that they're always there. One needs never be alone. And as she comes close, I do know that. Have you lost a sibling in the past? Have you lost a sibling? Have you a sibling that is ill? May I ask, or has been ill? Because somebody close to you has been ill, and it feels like a sibling, somebody who was special to you. Can you accept this? Somebody, and I don't think it's COVID. I think it's something else, something more serious. I do feel like a cancer condition. Can you accept that at all? No. But I just feel she's making me aware of this, you see. Perhaps we'll come back to that in just a moment. But as she comes close, I do know that she's a lady with, once again, rather like the last message, somebody had a good sense of humour. And won't mince words, but she would like occasionally a little bit of what we might call a slightly risque joke. Can you accept that? She'd make her laugh a lot. And she always had this wonderful candid humour where she would like to see, if you like, slapstick things as well. You know what I mean? So anybody took a bit of a slip on the ice, fell on their backside, she would laugh. And those sort of what you might call little personal incidences that happen to people, she would laugh at those sort of things that were funny. But I do feel that warmth that she always conveyed around the family was always something you will always cherish and always look back at with great affection. But she was a lovely soul, and as she comes close, can you take the name George, because I'm getting mentioned about George, and there's also somebody's the name of, is it Alan or Al that I just heard there as well? Yeah, that's excellent. That's right. She wants these names to, if you like, the little idiosyncrasies of your life to come through, because the whole exercise here is to prove the perpetuality of life. And oh dear. As she comes close, she's a busy person, such a busy soul, almost right to the end. Can you accept this? I mean, really was the bumblebee, mentality. She was here, there, everywhere. I almost said something I shouldn't do when I'm online, but such a busy soul, and she was actually devoted to the family. And when I say devoted, she really was. And there's this wonderful warmth with her as she comes through this evening. She wants to just pat you on the shoulder, and she wants to give you this huge, humongous, sloppy, wet kiss. And she wants to lick her hanky, I think, and give your face that wipe. You know what I mean? That she probably did. Which, embarrassing, isn't it? I shouldn't be doing it when you're 27, but yeah, she's such a lovely soul. And did she used to read, do I see a bedside cabinet with books upon the bedside cabinets, things that appealed to her. But I feel she would kind of get some second-hand books more than going out to buy books. I do feel that those that did the rounds in the family and amongst friends would appeal to her more because they came by recommendation. And And I do feel that was a great source of entertainment for her, and satisfaction, peace and solace as well. I feel that she found it in reading. But she also, I feel, had a strong religious convictions. Can you accept that as well? And I don't believe she would necessarily have come into a spiritualist church, but I do feel that love of God was a very strong motivator in her convictions towards morality, and as a driver to the way she looked after the whole family. Can you accept that? I also feel that she's very much a monarchist as well. Can you accept that? Love of the monarchy was something that was special to her. And if there's anything on the old Christmas message on Christmas afternoon at 3:00, she'd be sat there in the front seat watching it. Can you accept that as well? Because she's making me aware of that. But I've got to give you March the 15th as a date of importance. So you may not be able to apportion it at the moment, but I do feel that date is one of importance in the family. And I do feel that I'm feeling rather breathless again. It's almost like with the last connection, there seems to be something with this lady to do with breathlessness. Can you accept that as well? And to some extent, a little bit of dizziness with her as well. Can you go with that? Because that's something that's I find that quite overpowering at times as a clairsentient medium. And I do feel that Nick probably gets the same information from spirits that he connects with. It's quite overpowering. And yeah. Once again, there's a message wrapped in colour that comes through to you. And I do feel that message in colour comes through in the colour blue. Now, you possibly support a football team that's of a blue colour, but it's nothing to do with that. It's to do with entirely a different reason. And I do know that colour blue extends not to the vocal capacity that we all have. A lot of people can be shy and retiring, and very often that message is aimed to, if you like, to give you a kick up the backside, so that you perhaps voice your opinion over things that you perhaps remain silent over. But it's not. It's to do with what I always feel is the healing side, that sort of compassionate side, that sort of side that your mother had. Very much the caring individual. She'd pick a bird up with a broken wing, wouldn't she? And she'd try her best to sort of nurse it to health, whereas probably everybody else is wring the poor thing's neck and put it out of its misery. But she would persevere. Can you accept that as that quality with a very much a God-loving individual? Compassion for everyone and everything at all times. And so with yourself, I think that quality, very much that the mechanics of your mind, very much like your own mother's. Can you accept that? You more took after mum than dad. And that quality sets you in great stead. And for that one purpose is that you can pursue that long cherished hope that you can manifest those inner healing gifts that you've always had, but never really thought they were worth cherishing and expounding. Can you accept that? Because you really should live that life, stretch yourself, and move into a whole new frame of life that will bring you an innermost satisfaction, fulfillment, that you'll get benefit beyond your wildest dreams and understanding, and it'll come natural to you. I've read many books on the subject, a great many books, and I've widened my sort of portfolio of healing modalities. But yours need only start with prayer. It need to be nothing more than that linking with the higher spirit. And things will happen. You'll light up. Your auric field will just expand, and you'll know straight away that it's the direction you need to take. So I'm going to ask you now if you have a question.
Just made a decision in life, quite a big one, and just ask if it's the right one.
Is it the right one? Well, I tend to do this, and the people watching will think it's off his head. But I need to do this because I get positivity on my left side, and I get negativity on the right side, and so I ask the same question, generally speaking, 2 or 3 times. And yes, I am getting a high amount of positivity. I mean, but it's kind of an 80-20 relationship there. So but there is going to be some bumps. There's going to be a few things that are unexpected. Can you accept that? You know, when you move house, anything like that, it's as draining as a bereavement, and I can vouch for that. So there will be some bumps in the road, but nothing that you can't handle. And all you do is just ask upstairs for help, you know, and they'll give it. They will. They'll smoothen that thing out as much as they possibly can. But just be aware there's going to be some technicalities in there. There's going to be some legalese. Can you accept that? And that's read carefully. And they're telling you that. Read carefully everything. Don't take it for granted. You know these people who go in homes under the hammer and they never ever read the legal pack. God, blimey. But, you know, so go into everything with fine detail. Okay then? Thanks for working with me. Thank you. Lovely. Right, well, a bit more G&T. You know, these old wheels need oiling occasionally. That's lovely. But, oh dear. Yeah. I've got another gentleman that's stepping forward here. And he comes close. Oh dear. Yeah. I do know that this gentleman would have had a cancer condition, and I do feel it would have been an abdominal cancer with this man. And I do know that as he comes through, that his first encounter with cancer was one that he was able to overcome, and actually he felt like Steve Austin, the $6 million man. He actually felt to some extent that he was a bit rather impervious. You know, he came to that point that he felt that it's one to me, and. But unfortunately, it was to return. Am I over here with you? Can you accept this? And he did actually felt really truly confident that he'd beaten it. Can you accept that? And I mean, really beaten it. He thought he's never going to come back again, but it did. But I do feel he still put up a damn good fight, and that fight was exhaustive. And not only for him, but for those around him. Can you accept that as well? And I do know that as he steps forward, that is his dad, by the way. Yeah, because I once again, he wants to pat you on the shoulder and he wants to give you that sloppy old kiss again. And he was a touchy-feely man. You accept that? Yeah, I get a lot of these very much these military people. They're very appropriate this evening, but I do get a lot of military folk come through and make this connection. But this man, I do feel, was very much a family-orientated soul, and a man full of real advice and nurturing. Can you accept that? Some fathers can be somewhat distant, but this man wasn't. A very practical man as well. Can you accept that as well? A fix and mend man as well. Sooner than going out and buying new things, he would have often futile attempts, but sometimes successful attempts at mending things. Can you accept that? And he was always like that, very practical. So he wonders why he didn't make this connection sooner. But he has been through, I do feel, before. But once again, we're in this stagnant part of our lives. And incidentally, I must go to London. Can you accept that? And where deep roots have been planted there. And he was very loath to ever leave London, I feel. Anything outside the home counties was almost like an exploration into deepest Africa. Can you accept that with this man? And he just loved it round there. He loved that banter. He also liked a pint, and I do feel he would have liked stout, a dark beer like Guinness.
I know, but maybe
Yeah, because I do feel he liked some of the stuff with the iron in. Do you know what I mean? He liked gin as well. Yeah, good old London Dry, probably. Yeah. But certainly this wonderful link with London, because they will show me all the sites of London. But would I be right that it's kind of on the east side of London, tends to be kind of the eastern side, you know, western side? Oh, I've got that wrong. But when I say that, I just felt to some extent there was a bit of the old core blimey.
You're right, because my mum was from the East End.
She was, yeah, because I do feel there's some core blimey, you know what I mean? Because I'm related to somebody else who knew more Cockney rhyming slang than I can throw a certain stick at. Yeah. But you know what? It might have been a London person living in an enormous metropolis of millions of people, but he had time for everyone. Can you accept that? He did. He opened his heart to everyone. And he didn't like to see, as so often the case in London, homeless people. It unnerved him to know that he was going back to a home with all those comforts and all that love and that was so rich in the household. And he didn't like to see that. And he would throw as much as he could afford into the hat that laid on the pavement for anybody that was destitute. Can you accept that with him? Yeah. But and some of the places that he very often frequented, there was a lot of this going on. Time he got to the end of the road, you know, he's literally fishing for the last coppers in his pocket. Can you accept that with him? That was. And would he have read one of these red tab newspapers? And can you accept that? I feel the Daily Mirror, if I'm right. But I do. I think in the younger years he may have gone with the Sun, but probably the Sun. But very much a bit of a Jack the Lad, but a nice guy. Very much a nice guy, Jack the Lad. And I do know that when he was suited and booted, he looked smart. And he went out and he felt great. Can you accept that? Yeah. But he loved his music with a passion.
When he was, sorry to feed the region, but he was business, he was pianos, gave his sons pianos, they made pianos up last weekend.
Lovely. But music was his... but not his first love. His family were his first love. But music came a good second. Yeah. But when you've got a passion for something that you love, you know, you can understand it. But I honestly feel when this guy passed, you know, he's almost, strangely enough, almost like a matriarchal figure. Can you accept that? Because it was a kingpin of the family. Very often it's a dear mother. And as with the previous reading, very much a matriarchal soul. But also he was somebody that really, when he went, it was like having your heart torn out. Can you accept that? And that's how I genuinely feel. Yeah. And it is no age. I've just lost a brother-in-law at 66. And you just feel somehow you've been cheated. But you know they're going to move on to better and better things. This is purely transient, this life. In our perpetuality, no more than a blink of an eye. But we must make the best of it here and leave this life higher and brighter and better than we ever came in. And that stepping over that threshold, we want to know that we've made a difference. And this gentleman did make a difference. He did make a difference because everybody he touched was better for that. and that's wonderful testimony to the person that he was. It's lovely to work with him. It's lovely. Yeah. But you know yourself, he's not actually talking to me with it. And that wonderful Glaswegian brogue, which is lovely, but equally, it's just by thought. It's just by thought. As I blend with him, as he comes through, that message gets through where it's intended. But once again, there's a message, and I think we're looking at one wrapped in yellow. Now, once again, I always think of yellow as that wonderful colour of new beginnings, of new start, but it's the good old sort of old solar plexus, that wonderful feeling of sunshine, but it's also our second brain, isn't it? It's the area of our anatomy where a lot of people give scant regard to, but it is in fact in your own case one that you tune into an awful lot. I feel very much you work with your solar plexus. Would I be right? Yeah, but I do feel that you work with it because it's logic and it's truth, and that's really important to work in that capacity, and it puts you in good stead because you override that weird stuff that goes on in our minds where it just can't make up its mind. Left and right brain having their little war going on in there. You don't do that. You say, I'll get on with it, and I'll go with my third. Yeah, that's right, because it's put you in good stead. And they're telling you now there's something coming up that you really do need to concentrate on that gut feeling. It really is important. Just go with that logic. And are you thinking of making changes in your life? I know you're committed to what you're doing now and into your lifestyle, but I do feel that you're looking to sort of new inroads. Can you accept that? Expansion. You're broadening your whole outlook. And what a fantastic time to do it, because it will bring you new rewards and fulfillment. And as you do that, things will come into your realm which you never anticipated. And none of us ever stop learning, do we? Even an old duffer like me, you see. And the fantastic thing is, when you move into something new and you stretch your parameters into that new realm, new things open up, and it's like a wonderful opening up that old box that your granny left, with all those things inside, and you think, wow, this is just wonderful, this is just fantastic, and you're just going to love it. But always be on the wary of those who may come into your circle who are kind of directing you away, just sort of distracting you when you don't want to be distracted. Do you see what I mean? And they always come in, these people, fly-by-night type friendships. And so concentrate on those who are special. Stay close to those who mean something to you, and particularly that you mean something to them. So even if the circle is smaller, which seems sad in a way because we should be in this time spreading our wings, just keep those close to you that are special close to you. And who's Harry, by the way? Or Harold? Because I've just been mentioned, that's just... Yeah, okay, yeah. But because Harry is these days Henry, but I don't think it's Henry, I think it's Harry. So take that name as well. And joy, can I give you joy as well? Because I've got to mention joy to you as somebody of significance. I must give you, strangely enough, my wife's birthday, December the 13th, as a date of importance to you, because that's being mentioned to you. And I always see this day-date calendar flash down in front of my eyes, quite distracting, but do take that with you. And March the 15th again, I think good old spring date. So once again, that yellow may mean things fulfilling themselves as well around that time of the month. So time of the year, I should say. Wonderful. Thanks for working with me. And do you have a message as well, or a question, I should say?
Question. Seeing the future about COVID and how we're going to the spiritualist movement, how did they foresee what was going on?
Yeah.
Can you answer that?
Well, it caught everybody. It caught everybody off guard. The amount of I've been down the rabbit hole, I think one might describe it as, and so I've done an awful lot of research, and I think it'll end as quickly as it started. It may seem to be dragging on, and I do think it will end as quickly as it started. We're seeing already now a lot of people have had enough, and they're basically getting back to a large extent to normality. And there was a time only a few weeks ago when 50% of the shoppers in Tesco's were still masked up and were looking distinctly anxious when anybody came too close. But already we're seeing a kind of a softening. We've got to live with it. We've got to live with it. And because we are social animals, we've got to get back to giving our old grannies a hug and giving the grandchildren time and love that they so need. So I'm not fearful of the future at all. I think we're moving into a wonderful new realm, and everybody talks about 5D, you know, and I think we're on a cusp of wonderful new things. So optimism all around. Okay, lovely. Thanks for working with me. Thank you. Oh, you've topped me up. Lovely. Excellent. Lovely. Right.
I used the double strength London.
Oh, marvellous. He's a good man, isn't he? He looks after me. Excellent. Right. Well, I've got a duo here. I've got mum and dad, I feel, stepping forward here. And oh, yeah. There's a dynamic between these two people that is really quite fun to experience. I do know that Mum, the shorter of the two individuals, and to some extent fuller of the figure as she comes through, was very much of the two, the one that was the organiser. She was a general in the battalion, and I do think the man, softer spoken, taller, was the man who tended to say, she's always right. Well, I'm told she's always right. And can anybody take this in, this dynamic between two people that I'm bringing through here? Can anybody accept this as somebody that, Mum, the shorter of the two, would I be with you? Mum, the shorter of the two, can you accept that? More the, if you like, the influencer in the decision-making process in the household. Can you accept that? More so than Dad. Dad was the kind of the gentleman who perhaps went out, earned a wage, and put the wage packet on the table, and let Mum. Well, you know what I mean, yeah. But spread, you know, Mum did the organisational, had the organisational skills in the family. Can you accept that? Yeah. And once again, that's so different. They're chalk and cheese. Can you accept that as well? And how their relationship worked was almost a miracle, but it did. Can you accept that as well? Almost a miracle, because when they first got together, I think even the parents on both sides began, it'll never work. It will never work, but it did, didn't it? And it did. And they were close. Now, you know, there's a few dings along the way. Can you accept that? Ding dongs, I should say, along the way. But they were good. They were good and stable. Can you go with that as well? Quite stable. Yeah, but he was very much, the gentleman here, very much a soft person in the way he presented himself. Can you accept that? He wasn't overly articulate in putting his view forward. Can you go with that? She was much more the orator of the two. If they walked into a let's just say a family get together or a social event, it would tend to be her that was the one that was the more welcoming of other people. Can you accept that? The one who was kind of responsive to other people, the one who would reach out and make those connections with other people. I do feel she was also the one who used to be on the phone a lot to other people. Can you accept that as well? Whereas if Dad picked up the phone, he'd almost hand it straight over. Can you accept? You can accept that? Yeah, because that's what Pardon? Yeah. But it would almost accept that. Often not even bothering to speak. You just pass the phone over. But once again, I feel we're kind of London with this dynamic pair. Can you accept that? Pardon? But around that area, would I be right? Because I've got this kind of London brogue I feel with them. Can you accept that? No, because that's what it's make us. Where are we getting this from? Did he work in his capacity in that area? Did he have any links with his work? Yeah, but I do feel that London was somewhere that he had almost a taxi driver's knowledge of the layout. Can you accept that? He would have done. I see. Yeah. Because I do feel he had an intensive understanding and knowledge of the area, and it could travel anywhere. If there was a blockage in the road, as I encountered tonight coming over here, detours were no problem. He knew all the little rat runs. Do you know what I mean? And so he had quite a good understanding of the area. So that's it made me aware that there was a London link somewhere there. But once again, I do feel that your mother had, again, this strong religious conviction. Can you accept that as well? She would have been, in her younger years, somebody sent off to Sunday school, and it would have fired up wonderful stories in her own mind, and she could always relate to those stories. They inspired her, those parables and things that she had read to her as a child. She would always remember those, and hymns. Certain things were very, very dear to her. I can relate to, and she loved Christmas. She loved the carol singing. She would very often keep the carol singers at the door for that bit longer as they came round the street. You know what I mean? She would enjoy it and love that wonderful link with her childhood. But I've got to give you Mary as well. That name's coming through with me as well, as somewhere, not necessarily your mother's name, but a name linked to her in some capacity. I've also got to mention John. I don't like giving too much the common names, but there's a John who wants to be remembered here tonight to you. So I'll pass that name on. And also, if I'm, yeah. Are you thinking of literally up in sticks and changing where your habitation is at the moment completely? You've been thinking of it? Skeptical, yeah, because it's a good move. It's a good move. When it happens, it'll be right, and you'll want to say, well, why didn't I do it before? Why didn't I do it before? And you must look at where you move to is the place that offers not only that a feeling in your heart that it's right, but also that place that feels, you almost feel as though you belong there. Can you accept that? somewhere that feels really, really deeply ingrained in your psyche. It's somewhere that feels right. And so give it thought. Do the old bullet point, write these things down and look at them and portion those in order of importance. And then evaluate which gives you, just feels right, just sits with your heart. Do you see what I mean? Because I do feel you will be moving. I do feel that's going to happen. It's just you've got to get that uncertainty and wear red. Sorry, when you make that decision, because it's the colour that gives you that logical understanding. Do you know what I mean? That it makes you, it's an empowering colour. Just makes you more dynamic in your decision making. And so that's the message. It seems so important. It's come at just the right time, because now is the time to give it really a lot of your time to work out exactly what's important to you. Okay. Remember, when your mum used to open the cupboard years ago, there wasn't always a lot in there, was there? Sometimes we're scratching around to find things, but there was always enough. Can you accept that? And she says, if you're worrying about it being to do with money, to do with temporary shortages, don't even think about it, because it'll all fall into place. It'll all be exactly as you want it to be. Just go with it, and you know it's right. Okay? Lovely. Do you have a question? If you don't, you can come and see me afterwards. Pardon?
I can't think of
No. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to.
He doesn't want to go to crying, can he
No.
not cry?
That's another thing about money.
Yeah.
I've been staying at Croydon, in
Yeah.
Croydon, and I don't particularly want to move there, but
Yeah.
that's where my other half lives.
Right, yeah.
That's where they're killing you.
My mum was born in Croydon, and I once set sail for Croydon, and I was only too glad to come away from there, Sorry for anybody that's watching in Croydon, but it's a must to avoid. Anyway, that's lovely. Thanks for working with me. It's been lovely. Thank you. Here we are. How much time have we got left now then, Nick? We've done it. Well, thank you.
Ladies, gentlemen and friends, the lovely Colin Boswell. Well done, mate. Just that one. Bless you. Thank you, my friend. Well, friends, what a wonderful demonstration and such a wonderful compassion about it too that I've always enjoyed with Colin. And I have to admit, for those that were wondering, is Nick being rude and playing Tetris or checking his TikTok views? Actually, I was looking at the comments and saying hello to everyone online because I don't want them to feel abandoned. And such wonderful, warm comments coming in online for you too, Colin. So, as ever, thank you so much for your work, for your compassion. And I know it's been a difficult time, and to have fought through that and been our Colin, we are very blessed and we are very, very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colin Boswell. Well, friends, we're approaching that time. I don't really know if my back's up to dancing tonight, but I'll give it a go. I'll give it. I'll tell you what. Let's have some gin and see how I go. Friends, thank you so much for your endearing support. Now, of course, this is a time where I do say thank yous, and I also have notices. It's not very often that I make a big thing of notices, but we've got a couple this week. Firstly, our medium next week will be Tracy Bidwell. And they're not excited about who the medium is. It's just that I blooming well remembered who it was. But Tracy has, of course, been to us before. Lovely, lovely medium. Again, really genuine, evidential medium. Always look forward to having her back. So she is back. And I know they were really wooing her, not my memory, or lack normally thereof. Also, are there any spaces left? There's a few spaces. So if anyone's interested, right, get there, in a gong bath, I was describing it to someone during the week, and I was getting a bit tongue-tied. And they were a little bit concerned when I said that we were having a bong bath. And then I tried to correct myself, and then it was a bong bath, which they then really did start looking concerned. But it is, in fact, a gong bath. It's going to be wonderful. And if anyone is interested, those two lovely people over there, Steve and Tracy, they're the ones doing all the work. I'm just going to turn up at 3 o'clock with the key. So I've got to share. That's what I was greeted with this evening when they walked in. We've been talking to your mum. Make sure you'll be here at 3 o'clock with the key. And I know that I'm going to get it several times over the weekend as well from Mother now. But no, seriously, it's going to be wonderful. I've even got a yoga mat. And I don't know how brave I am, but I've got some very, very relaxing yoga pants and a very, very nice grey top as well.
It's worth coming just to see that.
Yes. Because trust me, after seeing that, you'll be blind and never see a thing again. But nonetheless, I did make sure I ordered nice and baggy. I will say that I did have to send a pair back because they were virtually see-through. But there you go, never mind. Friends, some thank yous. First of all, again, a big thank you to Colin Boswell. A big, and I do mean big thank you to Reverend Alan, of course, for his reading. And I think a well-deserved and extremely rapturous round of applause, because we were all very well behaved and didn't give him one at the time, but now it is time. Behave yourself, love. Now it is time to show some appreciation for a young man who went to a great deal of effort in preparing himself to open this service, as well as make sure that the technical side was up and running. Our Jack, well done. And of course, thank you to my camera lady who had the night off, really, because Colin was so well behaved with his feet, as he always is. So she was making sure she was ready at the very least, but you gave her a break tonight and a bit of a rest. And of course, thank you to each and every one of you and all that you do in helping set up, whether it be coming in and chasing me and making sure that I know what I'm doing, helping coming in and setting up, and also closing down once everyone's, sort of buggered off, and there's me and Lowe and there's Mum, and we're just finishing up putting all the last little things away and making sure that we leave the place nice and secure as well. So thank you to each and every one of you, to the extent that I think you should all give yourselves a round of applause. And of course, to everyone at home who joins us week in, week out. And I don't know, I'm having a premonition. I see a toffee crisp. No, I don't know how many people actually remembers that advert. I use that joke virtually every other week, but Google toffee crisp advert and look for the one with Nan from the royal family in, because they have this say. They have this seance and like, is anybody there? Is anybody there? And then the light starts flashing and the lampshade starts shaking. And then all of a sudden, this empty toffee crisp packet descends from the lampshade. Watch it, it's wonderful. So whenever anybody says about Santa's, they'll think, I need a toffee crisp. Need a toffee crisp. Spirit's favourite chocolate, apparently. But of course, you know, friends, thank you so much, because the final thank you, of course, is going to be part of handing over to them after I've done the prayer, because I haven't forgotten. But a big thank you to Sam and Hannah over in Raffle Corner, and Hannah in particular. Every week you provide us encaustic art as Bully's special prize, and you pour your heart and literally your soul into that work. So a big thank you to Hannah. But back to that, see, I distracted myself then, didn't I? My prediction, it was the toffee crisp, wasn't it? No, I've got a funny feeling that we might have a few people online, not online next week. I've got a funny feeling we might have some familiar but new faces joining us in the hall, which is very exciting. And I'm going to say no more than that. But you know who you are now that your friends have reminded you of the right date. I will say that I said the right medium right from the get-go, which is a miracle of biblical proportions anyway. But there we go. Something to look forward to, special treat next week. But friends, let's join together as we close this service in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you truly for the opportunity to come together and unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship. We ask for a blessing to be placed on each person here present, on all those who will hear these words, and all those who will see these words, that your love and your blessing might shine and pass on to their friends and family too, that your light might guide our paths and keep our feet until we meet again. And as we say, and always say, Great Spirit, when in times of doubt and trouble and need, we ask you not to move the mountain. Just give us the strength to climb until we meet again in your name. Amen.
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 Well, friends, thank you. And another big final one, Colin Boswell! One last little naughty story. Somebody was talking to me in the street and had seen our services online, and they wanted to know why I yelled a lot from the platform. I said it's something that I do. And they said, now, is it just generally your character, or are you using it to cover up the fact that you're breaking wind? Which reminded me of a wonderful story that my nan used to say relating to churches, chapels and rattling. And on that note, I'll say it is over to Raffle Corner. Get your tickets out.
Three, 4, 1.
341. There you go. I'm going to say she's learned to count this week.
3, 9.
Oh, congratulations. I wasn't expecting it, to be fair.
Right. Next one is 3, 6. 3, 3, 6. That's us again. So we're going to put it back in.
Okay.
Nice try. She's got some sense.
Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
370.
Please.
70.
Come on.
Sing.
Come on, Sue. Well done.
Next one is
Chocolate.
357. 357.
357, anyone? 357.
Hey, well done.
Equally special.
One. Is 359. 359. What's that?
359, anyone?
Indra.
Three, five, nine. Is anyone?
359.
359, anyone?
Come on now.
359, anyone?
Come on. Ask me.
And that's anything.
It's going to be a long night, isn't it?
3, 2, 8.
328. Hey.
Well done.
Is 3, 5, 8.
358.
Put it back.
I tell you what, put your hand up if you haven't had a prize yet.
Colin has. They did get to do. Who's had a prize on there?
Who hasn't had a prize yet?
3 and 6. It's a 3.
That's a good idea.
Right. Okay.
So I
So, Colin.
Yeah.
That's kind of good.
Who's that? Who's that, Colin? Is that hair cream?
Candle.
So,
What time is it?
I'm covered.
So what time is it?
What time is it, Anna?
They're off.
Prize
This.
3, 6, 7.
367.
367. You win in acoustic and art. Congratulations. If you look at that, you can say that different angles or specific directions. You see the messages in all of those, but do keep it away. There you go, there you go. She's already got the face. Hey, I see.
That's what crime was.
Well done, my lovelies.
Well done.
Well, friends, Thank you all. God bless you all. We're going to go and have some more gin. Pardon? Yes. There is healing available à la Reverend Cathy. She's already had one patient, a recipient, before the service. If anyone would like, in all seriousness, if anyone would like some healing after the service, please see Cathy. Anyone at home who is, do you want to put it that way? Because I'm starting to, that's thank you. I was starting to lean. Oh dear, I've got a really bad back, I do apologise. Before and after the service, Cathy will always be available to provide healing 99% of the time, barring holidays, annual leave, and, you know, rubbing the blisters off your feet when you've been running a marathon or something. But yeah, healing before and after the service available every week from now on. So thank you and well done and long may it rain. Healing is the way. Anyone who's coming on Sunday to the Bongarth, the Gong Bath. We will see you there. Just another small announcement. If anyone is in Littleport on Sunday, myself, Reverend Lynn and Reverend Cathy will be representing you at the Littleport Remembrance Day Parade service. This is not just for decoration, it has meaning and purpose, and it will be laid on your behalf on Sunday. So friends, thank you all. Another big final thank you to Colin Boswell. May the peace of the Great Spirit go with you all, but until next week, good night, God bless, and good eating to you all. Good night. Hit it, Captain.